Dr. Elizabeth Lucas is a dynamic and motivation speaker. She is based in the United Kingdom. She is the founder and director of Y.Y.C.I International. She has been invited to several international conferences to speak and lecture. She is an intelligent teacher, author, and she is a mentor to the younger generation. Please subscribe to YYCI TV on YouTube to watch her amazing videos. You will be glad you did.
This is just to let you know that there's nothing too difficult for you to do.
If we can change, then everything around us will change.
Without wisdom, you can't really create wealth. We are in the world of creativity.
Okay, so let's move on quickly. Like I said, we continue with our Mindset for Transforming Business and Entrepreneurship Masterclass, and we have various to cover in this module 1. And today we are privileged to have in our midst one of the best coach in the world, and also from United States of America, Coach MJ Tolan, which I personally have known him for the past 2 to 3 years, and he is doing great things, touching lives and doing great works over there. I wish I was able to get more information, but he will also introduce most of the things that he is doing as well. He is the author of Executive Powers, Cracking the Code to Magnetic Relationship, and is also the founder of World Class Institute. And the topic he will be sharing with us today will be leadership styles in business or in entrepreneurship. So without any wasting your time, let me just invite my coach, Coach MJ Tolan, to share with us this afternoon. You are welcome, son. Thank you so much for joining us on time.
My honor. My honor. Good morning, everyone. I'm looking forward to sharing a few little tidbits of learnings that I've developed over the years, gathered over the years. And by the way, just so you know, the only reason that I can share gatherings of wisdom is because I've made so many mistakes along the way. You know, if you're going to make an omelet, you're going to break some eggs, and man, did I break some eggs. So I hope that through this sharing, I can save anyone who's thinking about being in business or already is a great deal of time and heartache, so that they can win more effectively by gathering people around them that will be aligned in their own vision and mission. So am I able to share the screen?
Yes, sir, you can.
Okay. All right, let's see here. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So as Dr. Elizabeth stated, I have been a business person for quite a number of years. I have, through that process, when I finished, I took one team, which was 3 people, and grew that into over 700 across 8-country market outside the United States, in places like Russia, Poland, Lithuania, Turkey, Lebanon, Bahrain. So I was able to grow that business to a point where it produced over $100 million in sales as an aggregate, that tiny little team. And as I sold that company and moved to Dubai to open up the World Class Institute for Learning and Development, which was my passion, to share knowledge and to engage with people who are interested in developing their skills. Because I'm really, at the end of the day, self-taught. No matter what you think you might learn in school, boy, when you get on the horse, you certainly learn how to adjust in the saddle. So I'm going to hopefully today narrate a few of those twists and turns along the way. And what I've learned throughout the process, I've narrated in a book called Executive Powers, Cracking the Code to Magnetic Leadership. And that all magnetic leadership is a mindset. And that mindset is a winning mindset for business. I didn't always have it. I did always need it. And so perhaps today I can share some of the important galvanizing points for you all so that you know. I've had a career of
Coach MJ,
Yeah.
just to let you know, finally I got into Facebook. So
Okay.
yes, thank you. Just to
Okay,
let you know that we are on now on Facebook.
so we're on Facebook now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so hi, Mom. I'm just a shout out to everyone on Facebook. Good morning. My name is Coach MJ. I'm going to be sharing Cracking the Code to Magnetic Leadership, my book, Executive Powers. And we're going to be drilling into the mindset of how leaders in business can effectively lead better by having the right mindset. So I was just sharing before we got onto Facebook how many mistakes I had to make in order to be able to say something like that. Because, if anybody thinks that they were a born know-it-all, just run as fast as you can. You don't want to be around somebody like that. But I've definitely have been blessed to have had a lot of opportunities to learn. By the way, I think if you look at my Amazon profile, I have right around 9 book projects that I've done as an author. And each one of those, I talk about either two things, leadership or our charity. And our charity, we started 24 years ago for helping underprivileged children in Lebanon and then in different countries. We create fun days for them. I was just out in the Philippines in November, and we did a great, we did 3 events in Asia. We did 2 in Manila for kids who had cancer. And then we went out to Thailand in Phuket and were able to work with the Sunshine Village there. And, I was all dressed up as Santa Claus in the tropics. Let me tell you something. If you're wearing a Santa Claus suit in the tropics, it's going to be a little bit hot. But we had a good time. The kids had a good time. And, no matter what the languages were, we were all singing and dancing. It was a lot of fun. And we've been doing these, thankfully, been doing these since the year 2000. So I'm looking forward to this year as another banner year. And I love working with Professor Dr. Queen Elizabeth. We did meet, probably we met 4 years ago. We started some side collaboration. And then I invited her to serve for 1 year as our international ambassador for our charity. And then the next year, that was 3 years ago. 3 years ago, she started really growing strong, the Yes You Can International, with her incredible spirit, her drive. And boy, if you understand anything about her story and her mission, she's self-made, anointed through God, of course, but she's self-made, and she's really a great example and a great role model, someone that I look up to immensely. So thank you, Dr. Professor Queen Elizabeth, for having me today to share this with all your audience. So without delaying this any further, that's just a little bit of background on me. And by the way, when I mentioned that I have in my introduction that I had businesses in different countries, I want to let you know that I'm not a linguist. So I didn't know the languages of Russia, or I didn't know the languages of Bahrain, or I didn't know the languages of Turkey or Lithuania or Poland. What I did have was translators. And so one of the first things I had to learn very quickly was to make sure that you're very nice and kind to your translators, or otherwise things can go a different way. You never know what they're saying. And so you want to make sure that translator is somebody that has your interest at heart, because if not, things can go a little bit funny. So one of the greatest things I can tell you about being a leader, being an entrepreneur, and I've started and been involved in startups and started my own companies, probably over 20 enterprises throughout my career. And not all of those have been wins, not all of them. Some of them are what we call practice shots. Some of those we haven't had the opportunity to really get a big banner of success. So not every business that you might think about starting is a winner. We all know, we all think, well, gosh, well, everything Elon Musk does looks great. Everything that, Meta and Facebook and Instagram looks good, but not everybody is that. In fact, probably statistically, there are probably 70% of every business that was started 3 years ago is no longer in business. And that's a really important statistic. And one of the reasons for that is, you might think because they ran out of money, you might think because the market turned, and some of that is true, but some of it. I'd like to suggest that maybe 70% of that could have been mindset, could have been making the right calculation, working with the right attitude, working with the right humility, and I'll talk more about humility, and working with the right courage, because it does take courage. You're going to get out of bed in the morning, and whatever you do that day, if you don't do it right, you'll starve. It's just that simple. There's nobody coming to the rescue. If you're a business person, it's up to you. In fact, I love the saying that I borrow this from one of my mentors, Brian Tracy, and he used to say, if it's going to be, it's up to me. And boy, he was sure right. It definitely is 100% true. If it's to be, it's up to me. And there's going to be problems and challenges and difficulties. And even today, I face, the same kinds of different types of problems and challenges, but I still face them. And sometimes, we face them in our life through different vehicles, like, for example, family relationships or health, or economic downturn. So problems, well, they say that if you want to find somebody with no problems, drive past the cemetery, because everybody there, all problems are gone. So if you think you have a lot of problems, look up to the sky, thank the Almighty for all your problems, because that means you're alive. Well, that's another way to look at it. Isn't that just another twist in the mindset? And that's what we have to do. We have to find ways to adjust our mindset to the objectives that we have. Also, before I flip through this slideshow, I'd like to also say this, that if you're a leader, if you're an entrepreneur, and you want to create your business, and whatever that business is, let's call it today something as simple as a lemonade stand. Everybody understands what a lemonade stand is. So, you're going to have to buy lemons. You're going to have to put up a little table. You're going to have a pitcher with ice in it, and have some glasses or cups, maybe plastic or paper cups, but something environmentally friendly, of course. We want to make sure we're compliant. And a little sign that says 3 cents a cup or 5 cents a cup or $1, whatever it is. And then your couple of little friends are going to be with you there, and you're going to have a little canopy as a tent, and you're going to be open. Your lemonade stand is open. Now, you're going to need lemons. So there you have a supply line. You're going to need somebody to transport those lemons. So you're going to have, that working out for you. Probably that's going to be mom or dad in that case. But at the end of the day, this lemonade stand has to function so that when you squeeze the lemons into the cups, make the lemonade, you're going to have to sell them at a profit. And if you sell them at a profit, your business can be sustainable, providing your quality is good, providing that you're giving people a good experience when they come, they're having fun, and they talk about it, and then they send all their neighbors come over, and there your business is thriving. So all good, that's all good. Now, what could go wrong? What could go wrong is if little Susie, who started the lemonade stand, has a bad hair day. And if little Susie, who has a bad hair day, comes in and starts blaming everybody and trashing everybody and telling everybody, her problems, and making it all about her, and all the fun kind of goes away, she's basically sabotaged her business. And that's simply because she didn't have the right mindset. And I use that childish example to point out, honestly, how many businesses fail because the leaders, the founders of the business didn't get along, couldn't work it out, didn't have the emotional intelligence to navigate through the labyrinth of interpersonal relationships, who's getting the credit, who's most important, and all of these things happen without people really planning on them happening, but they do. So this is why I want to be able to take you through this today. One of the other things I do is I have a podcast called The Real Mission I'm Possible Show. And the reason I think this is relevant in today's presentation is I interview people who have gone through incredible adversity, people who have been faced with the most horrific of situations, maybe physically or some environmentally. One of the gentlemen here you see is a rear admiral of the United States Navy who lost his house during a big storm, and all their family belongings were gone, no matter what his position was. And he talked about in the show how they overcame that type of adversity. And I've had other people who were born with, I have one lady who was born with no arms, had to learn how to tie her shoe with no arms. How do you do that? She had to learn how to dance in a dance troupe without feeling the ridicule and the snickering of other kids. And she had to learn how to, well, then she wanted to learn how to do martial arts. And that little girl became a black belt in Taekwondo. Don't you know, she then went on to learn how to drive a car with no arms. Don't you know that when the police pulled over and wanted to give her a ticket, they looked in the car and they said, well, who's driving the car? Because she's sitting there with no arms. Now, she's got a great sense of humor. I know her. And she talks about that. But when she told her dad that she wanted to go from that to flying a plane, that's when we knew the sky was the limit. Her name is Jessica Cox. She's one of my heroes. I talk about her all the time. But she's on the show. So many other wonderful people I've had a pleasure to meet on this. And I say this because when we do our charity events, the I'm possible mantra has been part of what I do as Coach MJ for over 20 years. And when we just came back from the Philippines, all of the kids who were involved in our program, they all received this red bracelet. I don't know if you can see a red bracelet here, but on the red bracelet, it says, I'm possible. And I'm possible is, well, it's an attitude. It's taking the word impossible and making it personal, making you personally accountable, because the possibilities of what we can do are all inside us. And of course, then I like to give out my best advice for anybody in business. And it's in my book, Executive Powers. And I'll just go over and read it again if you're just listening to this program. It says, when you look after the people on the inside, you never have to worry about how they treat your customers on the outside. In other words, if your people are happy and you're treating them nice and you're treating them with respect and you're nurturing their growth and you're making them feel wanted, you're making them feel valuable, you're making them feel significant, you're making them feel like it's part of their business also, well, gosh, that's just going to rub off on your customers. And when that rubs off on your customers, well, customers are going to be happy and talk about your business. And who's the best advertising you ever have? Your customers. So that's a real important point. And that's a mindset. That's a mindset. Because, don't be that little girl who had a bad hair day. Don't do that, because you're going to chase away your best people. And I've done it. And one of the things I write in this book for anybody who worked with me over that 15-year period where I had those businesses was, gosh, there's a lot I've learned. There's a lot I've could have do better. I wanted to do better. And possibly maybe I didn't know, or maybe my ego got in the way. And so, that's somebody who doesn't belong in your business. Your ego needs to be locked in the closet, and you need to come out with a heart that serves others, a caring heart that says and realizes, you know what? The only reason I'm here is because those people who are spending time with me today, to help me with my business, They could be with their families. So how can I make this experience with them, for them, more enriching? How can I make this as a leader? How can I give them something else besides the job, besides the wages, besides the rewards? What other rewards could I offer them? Possibly, maybe, hopefully, and surely it might be to show them a path of growth, of nurturing, of being wanted, to feel significant. And through those types of anchors along the way, people will get the idea that, you know what, this is a really good leader. This is a really good place to work. This person cares. And there's going to be job offers that people have. I've had situations where companies have come into some of the markets that I've been in, and they've tried to hire all my people. And the first time it happened, they hired all my people. So I showed up at work one day and there was nobody there. Well, no matter if you're a captain of a ship, you can go, well, I'm the captain of the ship. But if there's nobody to row the boats, well, then what are you? You're just somebody there who wasn't paying attention. So make sure that you look after your people. Make sure that if it's one person, if it's just one person, and it doesn't need, I've had, like I said, I've had 700 team members, and that doesn't mean that I looked after all of them. Some of them I didn't even know because it was spread out over so many countries at different times and different days. But I have been that moody, bad-haired day person, and that's not who's going to be sustainable as a leader in the future. And that's why I wrote the book after studying leadership in many different areas and through different programs. I felt that this is going to be a calling for me. So when you look after the people on the inside really properly, really take care of them, really make them feel wanted, significant, then they will definitely take care of you. That's for sure. All right. So one of the things that I've learned also when I've seen as a consultant, as a trainer who's been brought into companies and banks, insurance companies, you name it, I found that there's a gap. There's always seems to be a gap between what they say they're willing to do to help and develop and nurture their teams versus what they're actually doing. And so be mindful as a business owner. You might have a perception that everything is okay, nobody's complaining. Sometimes that's because they don't want to hurt your feelings. Sometimes it might be because they're afraid of you as a boss. And of course, if that's the case, you're never going to hear any truth ever. And then, of course, you've got the other thing. You want everybody to be your friend. And I'm sorry, that can't be. You can be friendly, but not everybody can be your friend, because sometimes in business, you have to make hard choices. And, you have to tell people, well, it's time we get to work. We got to go to work. Let's stop the play now. Let's get time to get back to work. So you cannot not have situations in business where everything's going to go perfect. It just doesn't happen. But you can invest time, energy, and resources in helping develop the people within your organization, so that when you do step away, whether it's your half a day you need to go for an appointment and you left them in your store or your lemonade stand, or you had to go away for a week or a month, if you have people in your organization that you've trained, that you've invested in, that you've nurtured, that give you that backing, then you've done something very well, and your organization has a bigger chance to thrive. They always say that, though, when you talk to somebody who just left their company, they say, why did you leave? Gosh, I couldn't get along with Bill. He's just a maniac. Every time I'd walk in the door, he'd start huffing and puffing or breathing funny, and he was always micromanaging me, and he was always looking over my shoulder. He didn't trust anybody. He was always competing with me. Like, I didn't understand why he had me there. He always wanted to tell me how great he was, and never, how good I was or how anything like that. So I just couldn't get along with the guy, and I left. And that's the truth. People will not normally leave a company, but they will leave their bad boss. And sometimes as a founder, as a business owner, we end up being that micromanaging bad boss unless we're emotionally intelligent enough to be aware. And those are the types of things that I would like to raise to your attention today to be aware. So I have something called the DNA of magnetic leaders. And let's talk about a magnet. A magnet attracts, right? So you want to attract people to you. You want to attract their cooperation. You want to attract their goodness that for you and give them the opportunity to be the best that they can be with you. And so in order to be a great leader and have that DNA that pops out, we know three things. One, that great leaders do what they say they're going to do when they say they're going to do it. They have that reliability, that trust, and they earn it every single day. Not like, well, I came in one day, I was really honest with you and nice. And then the next day, you just undo that. Well, you just forget it because you just threw that one right out the window. And you're not going to earn it back in 5 minutes because trust is hard to earn and easy to lose. So you got to make sure that your integrity is your brand and that trust is, wow, that's the glue that holds every relationship together. So you want to make sure that you're aware of that. And then great leaders have to be able to navigate change. I have something I call the ATM account. And the ATM, you all know what an ATM, you go to a credit card machine and you go, well, you know, I've got this card. I'm going to put my card in the machine. I'm going to get some money out, right? But you can't get any money out of a machine if you don't have any money in the bank. And by that truth, you can't get any respect out of anybody if you haven't deposited any respect to them. Just because you're the boss, just because you're the leader, doesn't necessarily mean that people are really going to respect you. They might fear you, but that's not really respect. That's respect for 5 seconds after you leave the room. It's somebody will spit in your soup. So you want to make sure that you earn respect. And the only way to do that and to be able to get that respect that you can withdraw eventually and not on demand and not on command, but through good deeds, through being a good person, through being the type of leader that people want to be around, through treating people right, being kind, by showing them that they can elevate themselves with you because you're there to help them grow. And that, you know, this business might not be for them for 6 months or a year or 2 years from now. They might move on and you hope that they do and maybe get better education and maybe start their own business. You never know. But one of the things you want to make sure is that you've deposited enough respect into them so that you've got enough respect in the ATM account. So this is a real important lesson, because just because you show up, you're the boss and you're the person that hired them, that doesn't mean anything at all. You've got to make sure that you push yourself and your mindset to the point to, you know, wait a minute, this person is here because I've done something to bring them here. Now I've got to do everything to keep them here, because if I can keep them here and help them and support them and train them, they can support me better. And then we can support each other and we can grow together. That's the mindset. That's the mindset of a magnetic leader. And then, of course, you know, one of the easy things to do is you have somebody in the room and they want to tell you something. You say, well, hang on a second. Before you say that, let me tell you this. Yes, sir, but hang on. I know you got a point, but let me tell you this. And if you're sitting there and interrupting them to control the situation, if you're interrupting them because you don't want to hear their ideas, what you're doing is you're killing an opportunity for you to learn something. And it can be that you need to learn humility. Maybe you need to learn that this guy's trying to tell you, hey, there's a policeman and a tow truck outside and they're getting ready to take your car away, but you weren't listening. And so you lost out. So make sure one of the superpowers of a great leader is that they have tremendous patience, humility, and compassion for other people, and that they're ready and able to learn through listening. And when they speak, it doesn't have to be that lion's roar. It doesn't have to be, to show your authority. It doesn't mean you have to yell and shout and be mean, which is what I thought when I was, a young leader. I think I started my first business when I was maybe 20 or 21. And I thought, I had to be, I'd seen it on TV, these bosses or they're kind of mean. So I started out as a mean little boss. By the time I think I was maybe 22, 23 years old, admittedly, I was the number one, customer at the florist. And the reason was I'd have to go and buy flowers. And the reason was because I had to keep apologizing for being such a brute and so mission oriented in my business and in my company that I was making some of the people cry. And I didn't understand it. I didn't have the emotional intelligence to understand it. I was so mission developed, mission oriented and mission focused. I was not just stepping on people's toes, I was stepping on their feelings. And that's the worst thing you can do because we're humans after all. And who cares who you are? Who cares? If you care who you are, then be a better you and make sure that you don't have to go out and keep buying flowers like I did before I learned. I'm just hard-headed. It took me a long time to learn this lesson. But I'll guarantee you now, if I buy flowers now, it's for something totally different. And I just make sure every day that I try to be as good as I was, maybe just a little bit better than I was the day before. We can always improve, every single one of us. So these are some of the points that I've learned through this. And the other thing is, I made a kind of a joke in the book here, and it's a play on words. I wrote here, not all leaders speak French, but the real ones all say we a lot. And we means, hey, let's do this. Let us accomplish this together. When we arrive, when we do something, and let them understand that they're in it with you, that you're talking together with them as involving them. Two of my favorite leaders that we talk about in my Magnetic Leadership Mindset program are Mahatma Gandhi and Nelson Mandela. Very quickly, both of them had incredible leadership styles. And the magnetic leader, of course, is somebody who attracts followers through inspiration, motivation, and personal charisma. And they possess these qualities, and they inspire people to achieve great things. Look at what these leaders did and what they achieved and what they helped others achieve through their incredible inspiration. We can all learn from them. They had different jobs and they have different missions, but at the end of the day, they had to be nice people. They attracted people to them magnetically because they had this mindset. And you didn't hear Nelson Mandela or Martin Luther King or Gandhi say, "I'm important. I'm the boss. I'm the one. I'm the only one who can save this company. I'm the hero. But I've said that. And I lost good people around me when I was younger, when I was saying things like that. They want to be involved. And you want, as a leader, to involve the people who are there, who depend on you, who rely on you for our future, or at least for a day or for a week or for a paycheck. So why should they trust you? They have to trust you because you do something every single day to earn their trust. You do something every single day that gives them a reason to want to stay there. Otherwise, they'll just look around and find another job. How did they find you? It was online. They applied. Well, they could do that. Didn't take much. So guess what? You have an audience. You might call them on paper an employee. What you have is a future ambassador of your business and your brand. So that when they go to a barbecue in the neighborhood and somebody says, "Hey, what's it like working with Coach MJ?" You hope they might say, "Oh, he's fun to work with. He's a great guy. I'm learning a lot. You hope they might say that. But if you're not treating them right, they might not be saying that. So the real test of a leadership is what I call the Coach MJ barbecue test. So make sure that you're treating your people right. So when they go out into the world, they're ambassadors for your business and for your character, your integrity. So we all know what Gandhi did. He used nonviolent change to challenge the British Empire. He used his personality to inspire, and he successfully just basically said he did not back down, and he had his convictions, and he was strong, and the British Empire backed off. And it was an incredible thing for a young one person draped in a cloak. It wasn't Fendi, it wasn't Gucci, it wasn't Armani. It was just a white sheet he wore around the side, very humble. He had no airs of, anything except he had a caring heart and he had a mission in mind. He was resolute, he was firm, he was undeterred. And this type of courage is something we can all aspire to have. So we all have the opportunity. My mom, I was lucky enough that I had 7 younger brothers. So I like the idea of misbehaving. I really did. That was a lot of fun, to go get in trouble, stick your hand in the cookie jar, stay up late at night instead of going to bed at 6, stay up till 8 and watch something on TV. That was real misbehaving back then. But my mother told me, though, I'm the eldest, I've got to set an example. Gosh, that was no fun at all to hear. But that's what I had to do. So she had me in leadership school at a young age. And I'll just tell you a little something funny about this. My mom would put all of our chores, and I, had all these younger brothers. So she put all of our chores on the refrigerator and as a list. And so, okay, so MJ, you've got to do the dishes this week and you got to take out the trash this week. And then, Patrick had to do this and Sean had to do that. And so everybody had like something to do, probably till you were like 5 years old. Below 5, I think you could still be a kid. So, excuse me. So I had chores to do, but of course I learned that some of my younger brothers, I could talk them into taking some of my chores over certain days. This is called delegation. You learn this in school. In real life, you call it negotiation. And delegation as a leader is an important point. Now, I use this little childhood example to bring this up that, hey, listen, if you're going to lead by example, don't tell somebody to do something that you wouldn't be ready to do yourself. In fact, show them that you can. Do that in front of them. Be that person that doesn't mind taking out the trash. And I really do that. I mean, I go to any of my offices, wherever I'm at now, and you'll see me. I'll be wiping tables. It doesn't matter. Come on. We're there to shine. We're all there to show. And I only have one opportunity to be able to show people who I am, where I come from, what I'm all about. The last thing I want them to see is some pompous person sitting in a chair smoking a cigar with his feet up, telling everybody what to do. That's not a leader. That's a bully. Nobody wants to work for a bully. So make sure that you don't become that person. You want to make sure that you set a high standard for your people to follow because you have a high standard that you follow. So both these great leaders that we talk about in the book and we talk about in this presentation, they had a tremendous impact and they will continue. Their legacy has a continual lasting impact. I can't even talk about how wonderful and saintly these gentlemen have been as an impact to humanity. It's just incredible. Can we be like Gandhi? Can we be like Nelson Mandela? Well, we can certainly take some of the traits that they had, and we can model those. We can emulate those. I mean, think about Nelson Mandela. He had over maybe 30-something years in Robben Island prison. He could have come out so angry He could have come out so upset. He could have had so much vindictiveness in him that when he came to political power, he could have punished all those around him, but he did not. He came into office with a forgiving heart. He came in with a word called reconciliation. He came in with words called unity. He brought people together and became one of the greatest leaders of the last century, maybe in centuries. So why not look at people like that as role models? I do, and I admire them greatly. So I have also something I call DSP leadership. Now, DSP leadership, you've all heard of ESP, extrasensory perception. Well, I have DSP, and DSP is discretionary sensory perception. What does that mean? Well, I used to fly off the handle pretty fast. In fact, real fast, to the point where people go, "Oh my gosh, don't upset him. He's got one of those bad hair days again." Discretionary sensory perception allows you as a boss or as a leader, as a founder, as a self-manager, even if you're not in business, just to take 5. That's it. Take 5. Breathe. 5. Instead of going in and pouncing on it, going and reacting to it, take 5 seconds. Take 5 breaths. Try to look at it from a different point of view, because not everything needs to be attacked. Not everything needs to be criticized. I love the works of Dale Carnegie when he talks about people don't want to be criticized. Of course, nobody does. It's one of the most stinging human things that can ever make your skin crawl, is to be criticized publicly. And we all do that because, listen, let me explain. We all have these memories when we were kids. We're in school and the teacher would call on us and they say, "Okay, Harry, I want you to spell rat." And Harry would go, "Well, RHAT." And all the kids in school would laugh in the class. And the teacher would say, "That's stupid. There's no H in that word. Sit down." Well, Harry didn't put up his hand for 5 years because he was too embarrassed to make another mistake. We don't want to criticize our people ever. And certainly we don't want to criticize them in front of others. When we do that, what do? We show everybody that we're a big boss and we know it all, and that we ridicule our worker in front of other people. Really? You think that's going to work? Let me suggest that if you ever want to give yourself food poisoning, that you mistreat somebody in a Chinese restaurant who's your waiter. You'll find out they might have put worms in your food. Listen, you want to make sure that you're winning people over with magnetic charisma, with cooperation, with appreciation, and making sure that when you do that, you lead effectively as the leader that you are. So my DSP model it's all based on respect. Remember I told you about the ATM machine? You gotta deposit first before you can withdraw respect. You've got to give respect to other people. And you've got to give it to them because you've shown them that you're responsible and reliable. That's the R. For the E, you've got empathy, and that you're empowering them to want to do more. Have you ever had somebody say, "Well, okay, you tried this. Why don't you try that one more time with a little bit of emphasis, and maybe just try a little bit harder this time. See if you can do a little bit better." And you did. You managed. You took an extra step. You jumped an extra inch. You were able to master something else because somebody gave you the encouragement and they empowered you. And we can empower people around us too. So that's the E. The S is be supportive. And not just for a day. You were good. You were nice to them last week. No, make it sustainable. Be a supportive person in general. Let them come to you for support. It's okay while you're there. And be patient. Gosh, there's a great saying. I loved it. It says, he gets down on his knees and he goes, "Dear Lord, Send me patience. Send it quick. Send it now. Well, you got to be a little bit more patient than that. But be proactive also. In the E, you be energizing, giving people your energy, giving them your enthusiasm, giving them a share of your spirit, making them feel part of the whole vision, making them feel that hey, we need to do this. Look at what we're doing. Look how far we've come. Thanks to you and all of you, we have grown. Give them that sense of connectivity. Be proactive in that. Don't wait to react. What I mean by that, being proactive, telling somebody they're doing a good job today doesn't cost you anything. But if you're only going to tell them once a month because you thought they were leaving the business, you lost it. So be proactive in your praise, and praise often. Catch your people doing something right. Any fool can try to catch people doing something wrong. Any fool. But a great leader will catch people doing something right and say, you know what? I love the way you did that. That was a great idea. I like the way you said that to that customer. What a wonderful way you have with people. I'm so lucky to have somebody like you in our business. So praise always. Be energizing, be enthusiastic, and above all, make sure that you collaborate with your people and make them collaborators so that they're not afraid to come to you. They're not afraid to get Johnny, who's their workmate, to connect with them. They can all work together as a team. That's what collaboration instills. Instills that team mission so that everyone will feel connected and everyone will patiently and thoughtfully and happily work together and feel connected, feel like they're part of that team. That's where you're winning. And when you do all these things, yeah, you're doing a good job. Not just for yourself, you're changing things. You're changing your mindset. You're changing your vibration. You're changing them. And this is transformative. And this is all because you're starting out your day being thoughtful. You're starting out your day with intention. You're going before you arrive to where your place of work is, whether it's online computer or whether it's you go to an office or a physical address, wherever it is, whoever it's with. You're going there with the intention that you're going to give your best. You're going to be your best. You're going to do your best. And that's all we can ever ask, is that we can be our best and look for the best in others. When we do that, when we can look for the best in others, we can empower our followers and we can learn from others, and we can read maybe some of the great leaders that I've read about. I've read about, that I've learned about, I've read it in books. Read the great books. They'll give you some of the leaders that you think that you really respect. I mean, for example, maybe modern day, they might respect Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. Read whatever biographies you can find. Find the traits that you like. Find out the information that's going to serve you, that matches your personality. So I like to talk in this section about the power of vision. The power of vision is an interesting little segment here that I'm going to share with you. And I think though the way I'm going to do it is, great leaders have the ability to share a vision with others. And that can be, what if we came to the office, we all worked together, and our boss said, okay, today we're going to work on a problem. We're going to, how when the NASA shoots rockets up into space and then the rockets come back and they blow up or they burn up in the atmosphere, it says, we're going to stop all that. We're going to develop a system, and you're going to help me with it, where we're going to get the rocket to come back down to Earth and land on a postage stamp and it's going to be reusable. I think everybody in the room would look up at that boss and say that he's crazy. That's never been done. It can't be done. If it could have been done, they wouldn't have been wasting millions of dollars every year for decades. That's probably what would be the average person be thinking that. So in order for us to get people to buy into our vision, we have to include them somehow. We can't just tell them what we're going to do and tell them what they have to do. We have to include them. So I like to say like this. If a leader is going to share their vision with a group of people, they should be able to share it in such a compelling way, that they're selling tickets on a cruise ship that's going to go see all these wonderful islands. And who would like to come with me? Make it an adventure. Make it something so fascinating, so interesting, that you need their help, that you want their cooperation, that we're going to do this together. That's the power of sharing a vision, a shared vision. So that if that person who come into the room said, today we're going to take this whole rocket thing apart. You know, there's got to be a better way, and I need your help. Please, let's work on this together so that we can figure out how we can improve rocketry systems so they don't just explode and they burn up in the atmosphere. What if somebody here in this very room can crack the code on how we can bring that same rocket back and have it land so we can reuse it? Then we'd all have job security for the rest of our lives. Who would like that? Everybody puts their hand up. Well, yeah, that sounds great. And get them all engaged and get them all galvanized and share that vision, that common vision together. And through that unity and through that power and through that empowerment and through that inclusiveness, you as a leader have done something wonderful, because not only have you showed your humility and transparency and vulnerability, you've asked for their help and you've invited them along to a vision that you have had been bold and courageous enough to imagine. Just imagine that. Sometimes we don't know how and the who and the why, but we do know what. What is it we want to do? Sometimes all these other things, we don't have the answers. Well, sometimes we need those resources, and the resources can be someone in someone else's imagination. So don't be afraid to tap into the power of vision within your people. And finally, before I close here, because I'm going to be leaving in just a second, can't just focus on this important enough. Emotional intelligence. This emotional intelligence, which is the secret to your success. You'll have to read up about it. There's not enough time in this presentation to be able to talk to you about it. But basically, all these people, both Mandela and Gandhi, both of them had this incredible emotional intelligence, a lot of it, which I've talked about today. So I just want to say thank you all for giving me the opportunity to present to you today. It's been an honor, privilege, and a pleasure. And I'm very, very grateful to Yes You Can International for inviting me as a panel speaker. And I wish you all the very best going forward. And may you all be graced with having the emotional intelligence and the power of your leadership vision as an entrepreneur to have the right mindset to become possible, become I'm possible through your gift. Thank you so much.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. Coach MJ Tolan. Thank you so much. You can put your slides down if it's possible. Thank you so much for this wonderful occasion that you have really shared with us your wealth of knowledge and wisdom, and also experience, how you've really illustrated it. What do they call it now? Your slides are incredible. They are so wonderful. Thank you so much. You really, really prepared for us today, and we really appreciate all what you've shared with us. What really stood out for me most was that respect how you've broken it down. I love it so much. And also the power of vision. Thank you so much for sharing with us. But we might have a question before you go.
Of course.
I know you might be in a rush to go somewhere.
No, I'm not. It's fine. Go ahead.
Especially when it is early in the morning. One of our great leaders on this platform says, this is mind-blowing. Wow. And then the other one also commented that the why is very important in navigating. Thank you, sir. So, and let me see what we have on Facebook. We have, yes, they're just showing their distance, so they are listening, they are enjoying it, and that is lovely. If you have any questions now, please ask. Let me start from Dr. Samina Evelyn. Any questions for our coach? And our coach is also president of YYCI from USA. So that is another great privilege for us that we can call upon him at any time to come and teach us, to come and train us, to come and inspire and motivate us. He has written so many books, but the latest book, can they get the latest book from Amazon, sir?
Say again?
Can I, those your latest books, can they get it from Amazon?
Yeah, I have about 9 book projects on Amazon right now. So
Okay.
Coach MJ Tolan.
Okay, so Coach MJ Tolan from Amazon, please. I'm also want to get that particular book as well, which I'm going to do that. So please avail yourself with these resources, because they are very good for our development and also for development of our organization. And you can also ask more questions. So let's start from this platform. Dr. Samina, you have a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Missionary spirit. Highlight it, please. That missionary spirit. How much we need to be humble and how much we need to have missionary spirit, that we have a mission in mind to elevate others. So please share it again.
Yes, can you repeat
Missionary
it again?
spirit.
Missionary spirit or mission spirit?
So thank you for your question. I'll come at it in a different way. I hope this will help answer the question.
Okay, sir.
In the beginning of my presentation, I talked about all the mistakes I made as a young leader. So when I made those mistakes, I wasn't thinking of me at all. I wasn't thinking of others at all. I was only thinking of me. And that's not the serving heart that you need to have in order to be successful and sustainable. So in order for any leader to be successful and to be sustainable, the third S is he has to have, or she has to have, a serving heart. And that serving heart has to put in their mind what is in it for the other person. And if you can answer the question, what is in it for the other person? Why would they come to work with me? What can I do for them? How can I serve them? How can I help them lead? How can I help them grow? How can I help them become better leaders? And how can I show them the way? So that's the first part of the answer. The second part of the answer is, when I used Gandhi and Mandela as role models, I simply said that I personally have learned a lot from other great leaders by reading about them and by trying to emulate them. And that whether that life of sacrifice is not, maybe not something that you necessarily need to endure to be a good leader in a business, because today the topic is having the right business mindset. But what you want to have is the humility. What you want to have is the transparency and the compassion for others so that they want to be around you. Because let me tell you, I think the sexiest cologne you can wear is called humility. And if you have that, people want to be around you because you're not bringing your arrogance, your know-it-allism, your professorism to the table. You're bringing your human heart. And people just love to be around happy people. People who can give their hearts, give them of themselves, and make you feel part of their own family. So that's, I guess, when we talk about business and entrepreneurship, if we can just borrow some of the traits of the missionary mindset that you brought about today by taking the service, being given, serving others, be ready to serve, have them enjoy the service that you give them. And I used to wake up as a young CEO when I finally got hit over the head and rang the bell. And the best day I ever had was the realization, what can I do today to make the people in my company, because I grew this company from 3 people to 700. What can I do today to make them feel like they're in the best company in the world? What can I do today to improve their lives? How can I serve them? And when you can ask and answer questions like that, you're having what I believe is the right mindset. It might not be everybody's mindset. It's just what's worked for me. So that's the answer. Does that help?
Yes, great question. Is that helpful, Dr. Samina? Are you satisfied with the answer?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
Good.
wonderful.
Any other?
Thank you.
Wonderful. Good. Any other? Oh, yes. There's a question from the chat box from Emmanuel Charles. Please, sir, can I know what you mean by DP and DSP?
Yes. 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 So DSP is something I created in my book, and I borrowed it from ESP. ESP is extrasensory perception. So when somebody has ESP, they're like they're predicting the future, or they're mind reading, or this kind of thing. And so I turned it around and I said, as a leader, we might need to have DSP, discretionary sensory perception. In other words, calm down. We're in control. We have the discretionary ability to be able to decide how we're going to react or respond to something. Most fools, including myself as a younger man, reacted to every situation. And great leaders will take 5 breaths so that they can respond better, so they don't step over the souls and the hearts and the feelings of others because they're so mission driven, that they think in terms and talk in terms of the other person's interest first.
Great, great, great. Especially,
Thank you, sir.
thank you, sir. Thank you,
My
sir.
honor.
For this, just to add to what Coach MJ just said. You remember my wonderful leaders when I keep mentioning something like the formula of a leader, if you can remember. Remember, I said something that there is event, E. And then from event, we talk about what did we talk about? If you remember, we are saying yes. Events, respond.
You're talking about the SWOT analysis or something?
No, I talk about the event. There's always an event in every way, right? And then from that event, we have response. So what makes a leader is how he responds to that event. And that one will make us to overcome or to succeed in and achieve our goals. You remember I said that? So that is exactly what Coach MJ also is sharing with us today. That how we respond, how we treat others, how we respect others, how we perceive others is what makes us an effective leaders. And another thing he also said is, I like that one, I wrote it down, is what do you call it? Hold on, the ATM. I've never think about it. When he first mentioned ATM, I thought he's going to talk about money. But I like what he said. What you put, what you deposited in the ATM is what you will get, you will withdraw. Am I right, sir?
Yeah.
So
But
how you treat others.
the best part is if you put your ATM card in the machine and there's nothing in it, you're going to get nothing out.
Exactly.
So don't expect to walk into a room and get respect just because you want it.
Exactly. So what you give to others,
first.
yes. So what you give to others is what you will receive back. If you respect others, then you will gain respect back. And that also will make you to know that as a leader, we are opportune.
In our Nigerian way, we say respect is reciprocal.
Reciprocal, yes. We have to humble ourselves if we really want to respect others as a leader. Because if you don't humble yourself, your ego will speak. And when your ego is in your head or your mindset, then no one you can humble yourself or you can respect. So these are the things that we are learning every day from one another. Because I mean, like MJ also said, our coach said today, if you can hear that, it all starts from your mindset. What kind of mindset do you have? And from your mindset also will lead to your attitude. And that will also give courage to others to be able to learn from you. So it's very important as a leader. When we are talking about leader, all of us are leaders. But what we do with our leadership, how we are developing leaders. I like the way Coach MJ started. He doesn't know it all, and he's not perfect. I'm not too sure that majority of leaders know that. We are all making mistakes every day of our lives. And that is why it makes us a leader, because we make that mistake, we admit that mistake, we evaluate that mistake, and then we find a way to overcome that mistake. And that makes us a great leader or an effective leader, because you are making yourself as human being. I like the way he started, because he makes us to realize that, yes, he's the coach MJ Tolan from America. But honestly, I make mistakes. And I learn from my mistakes. So honestly, you might be looking at me on top there, but seriously, I learned from my mistake to I've not even reached there yet. I'm still going through.
That's right.
You know, these are the simple ways that we need to emulate. He also said something, and guess what? He wasn't here when I was narrating my story for almost 1 year. I mean, for almost 1 hour. He wasn't here. But did you pick up something he said about Gandhi and
Nelson Mandela.
Mandela? Did you see how resonant we are all working together? I was telling them this morning, I said, I have to make it a duty to learn from every leader in the world. I'll go for their stories. I'm not attracted with their position or the money they have. I just want to know, how did they get there? Because I know they didn't drop from heaven and become the president of America. There was a process they went through. Some of them fell down several times. You remember that former president that failed for almost 70 times before becoming a president? I think it's Lois or something.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yes. He failed several times, 77 times before he became a president of America. And same thing happens. And another thing is that we all go through we all are going through or we've went through a lot. That's why we make mistakes. And from our mistakes, we reason with that mistake and then we learn better to become better. And that is why it's not about what somebody have that's supposed to attract us. What would supposed to attract us? How did they start the journey? I was reading a story of not Les Brown, even Les Brown as well. I've listened to, I mean, you know, Coach, you know Les Brown?
Oh, yeah, it's
Oh,
wonderful.
yes. I was following all his stories. The same thing happens to my lady, Oprah Winfrey. I listened to all her stories. I followed all her stories. Let's come back to UK here. I know every stories of Queen Elizabeth that just died last year. I followed all her stories, even the Princess Diana, and even the Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher, and even the one on the throne now. And that is the way we can learn from their mistakes, from their wisdom, from their experience. Experience comes from mistakes that they made and they've corrected. That's what experience is all about. So I really want to say thank you. There's also another person, a basketball person that I want to mention his name. When I listened to his story, despite the fact that he's really made it in life, I shed tears. You know, so when we see them climbing up, rising up, you know, shining, radiating, glowing, they've gone through the pain. They've gone through, you know, they have a story before the glory. They have pain first before they gain. And I want to say thank you so much because that is what you have enlightened us today, that we should revisit our leadership style, knowing that it's by His grace that we are where we are, and we should not misuse that leadership of ours. And we should find the way to be approachable, to find the way to be flexible, to find a way where people following us, working for us, or following us, or learning from us, will be able to see that picture that they also can develop themselves to reach there and also go far us. So I really appreciate what you've learned for us. I mean, taught us today. I also learned that one as well, because we cannot shy away from emotional intelligence. Every leaders needs to be conscious, or let's say show empathy, because we are all going through before we get to where we are going. And it's not a section of anybody. As long as we are all human beings, we should also sometimes put others, you know, put ourselves in their shoe. They are not there yet. That's why they are with us. And we have to make sure that we lead them carefully. Or we know, we lead them carefully. Maybe that is the simple words I can say. That where we are is by the grace of God. But then we are placed there to serve people. And one of the ways to serve people is to humble ourselves, respect ourselves and respect others, and find the way to open up for them to learn from us. Because if we are not approachable, then what kind of leadership are we treading on? So I want to say thank you so much, sir. The book is very important. So we want to advise us all. I'm going to have a copy, because what he has shared with us here is just a summary. There's not enough time. If I said, okay, we want you to tell us everything about the book, we'll be here till tomorrow. So even the book itself is just a summary. But to want to know more, you need to start by at least get his book. So by the time you get his book and you are reading the book, then you are getting the ideas, then the questions are coming in, then you are asking the questions, and then you get a better understanding. That is the way to gain from any leader. Am I right, sir?
Well, it would be my honor. Thank you so much for saying that.
So thank you so much for today. We really appreciate your time. Waking up as early as 6:30. I was waiting you will wake up around 7, but you've done us a good by joining us early and also sacrificing your time. Like I always say, to
My
be a
honor.
leader is a sacrifice. I mean, not only just coming to this platform to speak to us, anybody can do that, but sacrificing your time, I do not take it for granted. So I want to say thank you, my coach. I salute.
My honor.
And you, myself and my coach are the only speaker for this morning's section. And I believe that you have learned one thing or the other. And thank you for your contribution, Ambassador Balatito. Thank you also for Dr. Samina for your questions. Thank you also, Ambassador Emmanuel, for your questions. And I believe that we've learned a lot from Coach MJ Tolan. And I think that is the only section you have with us. Am I right, sir?
So far.
So far, okay. More are still coming as our president of. So we want to say thank you so much for this wonderful time that you have shared with us. If you still want to wait, we are going to round it up because we're waiting for you to give us your wonderful presentation. So we don't have any other speaker for today's morning. But I'm just going to quickly make an announcement for what we're doing so far, and then we can end this masterclass for this morning. Tomorrow is also another day. So I believe that we can come together and share together. Like I said, this program is for 15 days, and we just started on Monday. And we are rolling and rolling and learning. And what we have done as well, we have split some of our speakers to speak to speak in the evenings on WhatsApp, so that those people that didn't have that opportunity to connect with this zone, we've recorded it. We're going to play it for them. They're going to have the video, and also another speaker will be speaking on the WhatsApp for our learners. So that is how we are working towards it. So I want to seize this opportunity to welcome and also to appreciate all our leaders on Facebook platform. We started very late today because I chose not to open my own camera, not to record my own, because I was sharing my very serious personal stories this morning. So sorry that you have missed it. I didn't even record that, but I believe that it's just to prepare us so that we can learn from Coach MJ Tolan today. And that's what we've done. So thank you so much for joining us today. As we want to round up, Ambassador Balatito, do you have anything to say? Ambassador Balatito, yes.
I actually have a
Question.
yes.
Okay, that's good.
Well, he was talking about sharing of vision and mission, and he talked about destination. Do we really have to share our destination that we have in mind with our followers or with our employers?
Great question.
Yeah, I can understand why you would ask a question like that. And there might be some intellectual property, some strategic plan that you might not want to unveil. But here's what I am suggesting. I'm suggesting that whatever part that you can share with them, that you share it with them in a way where they would want to buy in.
Okay.
That's the reason I use the metaphor of you need to sell tickets on a cruise ship. So now, just like a cruise ship, the cruise ship I live in Florida. So here the cruise ships come every day and they go out into the Caribbean toward the Bahamas. But as you astutely said, do they all have to end up at the Bahamas? No, they can turn right, go to Jamaica. They can go down to South America. Does everybody need to know? Not always, no. And there's been times and in situations where I've started businesses and led companies where I did not want everybody to know everything that I knew because I had to protect the integrity of the secret sauce, the secret formula that business had. But definitely to be able to share enthusiastically with the team in modules that they were ready to know about. And so that in itself is called just getting buy-in.
Okay. Thank
Does that
you.
help?
Yeah,
Good.
that really helps.
That's
Thank
really
you
good.
very much.
Good question. Good question. Any other question? Thank you so much, Ambassador Bolatito. Any other question? Dr. Stephen Cameron, any questions for our coach? Yes, any question? If there's, I'm waiting. If you have any questions, this is the time to ask. Okay, let me ask one question, sir. When we are talking about vision as well, yes, you need to share your visions to your followers, okay? And you need to share your visions to your followers because I mean, those people who have worked with you and other things. What if that vision you just shared is being duplicated somewhere?
How do you mean?
Okay, for example, you said you want to reach out to a certain people because everybody have their own audience, isn't it? And you're trying to build up that audience. And then you have a vision that you've shared. And then only to realize that the same vision you have shared, other people are using that vision.
Well, now we're talking about a couple of different things. So let's break that down. Thank you for your question.
Okay.
Let's break that down. I have definitely had situations in my career where everything I was teaching people was being copied, stolen, and moved to another project so that they could compete against me. I've had that happen. I understand what that's like. I also have to say that what I learned painfully is that the sun rises for everyone. And that, whatever you think you know or you can protect, chances are you can't. I recently, I do this frequently. I recently had to sign an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement about a particular intellectual property that I agreed to protect and not discuss with other parties outside of the circle who are members of that NDA. And that's one of the things you can do with your team and if you're working on something that has that requires proprietary protection or intellectual property protection. So that's one of the things. And guess what? There's always, unfortunately, as nice as some beautiful islands are in the world, so beautiful, the beautiful scenery, etc. Unfortunately, there's always law enforcement. Why? Because people do misbehave. It's just, there's nothing we can do about it. What we can do, though, is we can behave. We can behave in a strong, responsible, good way, and don't let the crimes of others influence the goodness within us. But also not to cover our eyes with naivety either. So I go into situations. I have people sign, okay, I'm going to give you this information. I'm going to give you this training. You're going to sign this training agreement. You're going to protect my intellectual property. These are the parameters of the agreement. That's the best you could possibly do, is to do that. And then go for it. Because if you don't, you're going to let fear of being copied stop you from being great.
Exactly. Exactly. I like the last statement. I like the last statement. And the reason why I like that last statement, I believe that in every vision, there will always be a visionary. And visionary knows more than what is being written on the paper. And because you are the visionary of that vision, there is tendency that more ideas will flood in to how to sustain your visions. So I want to believe as well, like you said, sir, that we keep on dreaming and we keep on walking and we keep our focus on what we believe. While we're doing that, even if it is being copied somewhere, because one thing I know, that copycat doesn't last. That is why they will do one business today, and then tomorrow they will jump to another business. Either it's working for them or it's not working for them. But because you have your focus on the vision that you have stabled and you keep growing it, I think that is the best way that you've taught us, that just keep focusing, keep building, keep going, irrespective of whoever is copying, whoever is duplicating it, or any other. You just keep going, keep building, because at the end of it all, the visionary will reach his destination and achieve his goals. Am I right, sir?
Yeah, I would say, and maybe I can add to that, any recipe can be copied, but nobody makes cookies like my mama.
Exactly. That is good. That is good one. So it's a kind of encouraging ourselves as a business and entrepreneur, that whatever you started, you are the visionary of that, and you will continue to be. And it is true. Nobody cook like your mama. You can have the recipe. It can be all over the place. But then the way people will cook it will be different. Am I right, sir?
Yeah, because nobody's going to pour as much love into those cookies as her. And so you're not going to enjoy them, no matter what. You got the ingredients, but you don't have the story and you don't have the love behind it.
Exactly. Wow. Wow. That's a great motivation and inspiration you've given us there. That is really great. So that's an encouragement for every one of us. We visionaries, business owners, entrepreneurs, keep focusing on what you're doing. What you focus on increases. What you focus on expand. And don't be distracted with any other things that is around you. If people want to copy, let them copy. You just focus on what you are building. Once you break your focus, you'll be discouraged, distracted, and sometimes you feel betrayed. But when you focus, you just keep on doing what you have to. Just like I'm a Christian, I can use Jesus Christ as an example. He knew somebody would betray him. He knew somebody will do something else. But even though he mentioned it at the last minute, but he knew right from the beginning. But what did he do? He has an assignment on earth, and that is what he was focusing doing. And he did it to the last minute. So really, what we encourage ourselves when that kind of attitude comes around us is to focus and keep building. And never be discouraged or never be discouraged. Because when we discourage, sometimes we feel weak, we feel disappointed, We feel distracted. Sometimes we want to give up on what we've started. Very well. Sometimes we want to slow down. Sometimes we want to isolate our thinking, isolate ourselves, and even isolate our performance. But then we don't do that. We don't allow other people's attitude to affect our focus, to affect where we are going, and to affect what we are building. Only when we know that this is our vision, this is what we stand for, this is our mission, that is why we have goals. We focus on our goals. That is why we have our mission statement. We focus on that. That is why we have our standard that we are following. So I believe that those are the things that we've learned a lot from Coach MJ Tolan today. That as a leader in entrepreneurship, we can also stand on our ground and do what is necessary. Like one of my musicians from my country will say, do your best and leave the rest. And that is the most important thing. The life is too short. We only know of today. We don't know of tomorrow. So let's live our life and free ourselves instead of being timid and say, oh, someone is copying me. Oh, someone is doing what I'm doing. No. Just like the illustration that I always give to people. If you go to the market, the same thing you are selling, other people are selling it. Probably you are selling a clothes, or you are selling food stuff, or something. Other people in the market are also selling. But your USP will distinguish you. And whoever wants to buy will buy from whoever they feel like they want to buy from. So you can't force people to buy your product, but you can show your USP. USP is unique selling point, your uniqueness. What will attract people is how people will come closer to you to buy what you are selling. So on this note, I believe the internet has knocked our speaker out, so probably won't be able to ask me more questions. But I need to round up now because it's time. So, but I just want to announce quickly our evening section. Our evening section is still Dr. Lonston Tom. We missed him yesterday, but he's going to teach us on leadership style again in business this evening. So if you are free, you can join us on WhatsApp. And thank you so much, ma'am. Dr. Samina, Ambassador Balatito, Dr. Stephen, and Captain Eyad for joining the master class. To join the WhatsApp. It has been amazing. Thank you so much you were there to learn, but you were also there as adults to support our young ones. And we really, really appreciate that. And our great moderator, Ambassador Emmanuel Charles, is doing great because I'm working during that time, so I'm not able to be there throughout. But towards the end, I joined, but I still follow all the teachings, and those teachings are so powerful, as well as we here on this Zoom platform. So I want to say thank you. So this is our speaker for this this evening. He's an educationist, clergy, book writer, coach, preacher, mentor, administrator, elect engineer, a human rights activist, and philanthropist. He is the one that taught us on conflict resolution on Monday. And I believe that was powerful. That was his passion. And he really delivered very well. So he's coming back today again to teach on leadership style in business. So I believe some of us can join us. Mindset is everything. The state of mindset will determine your speed of your journey. The state of your mindset will determine your net worth, your association, friends, and circle that you belong to. Always be your best and enjoy what you are doing because you are the best. Surround yourself with like-minded people and your associations matters. So this is the masterclass group link. If you haven't joined us, you can join us today, and let's learn, continue to learn, because learning is living and is lifelong. So we keep learning. So thank you so much. Tomorrow again, we have all our books available. We also stand on TIME, which is transformation, inspiration, mentoring, and empowering our youth leader, young families, and children. So we continue with business and entrepreneurship masterclass until 22nd of the March, both on Facebook, Zoom, YouTube, LinkedIn, because we also shared on that, and also on WhatsApp. Apart from this masterclass, we also have available ongoing according to, just is going, depends on the availability of the trainers and the trainees. We have relationship masterclass, authorship masterclass, public speaking masterclass, and personal development masterclass, and many more skills. So we also have one-to-one online business. If you want to have more of mentorship, and Dr. Elizabeth, we can see you through. So you can contact her, and then she'll be able to direct you, because it's not only just learning. You need a mentor. You need somebody that will be accountable for what you are doing. This is the program on authorship. This is the advanced one that we are doing. And we also have magazine that we can publish and promote your business and what you do. These are all our right. Yes, You Can International has been published about 4 years ago, and now we've extended our knowledge to French version. So we are launching the French version of Yes You Can very soon. It's already available. We're just trying to put two things together. Same thing as The Love We Lost. We also have it now on French version, so that there will be no excuse for French speaking that they don't get the book because they don't understand English. So now we have the English version and also the French version. If you believe it, then you can be it. Yes, you can. Dream big, but start small and grow bigger. Be determined and then focus. Yes, you can dream it, see it, and be it if you focus and determine and also take action. There is power inside of you to create, to build, to perform, and to become. Yes, you are gifted. So you just need to discover it and also to develop it. It's not too late to create, to build, to develop, to pick yourself up and create and ignite and stir up the gift in you. Because why? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And yes, you can. So on this note, we are ending up this program today. And my last question is, can I end this program now?
Yes,
You can.
Yes, you can.
you can.
Yes, you can.
Thank you so much. Dr.
Thank
Stephen,
you so
I don't
much.
hear anything from you. I hope you are preparing because you are teaching. So I'm knocking your door. You are going to be teaching us
Yeah,
during these master classes. So be prepared for us. I will get in touch with you. I've seen your profile. So please, let's talk together so that we can fix your
sure.
date and your topic. So I'll be waiting.
Yeah. I'm loving these sessions, dear Queen. These are amazing sessions. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Captain Ayari,
Thank you.
thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
so I'm ending this program now. Thank you.